1210 WPHT.
Good morning. The breaking news story. Now it's Pam Bondi's turn to be on the hot seat, if you will. So we'll have all of that. Marco Rubio, he then is on deck. So let's bring you the latest as we, and you're not going to miss a thing, don't worry, because we'll try to consolidate everything for you. As far as the LA fires, I do want to update you on, we have another death confirmed. So 25 dead with these LA fires as the critical fire threat now has been raised. More than 6 people in Los Angeles are under that critical fire threat. Why? Because of the winds picking up, these Santa Ana winds, 80-plus mile-an-hour winds. What a tragedy. And it just shows you policy and preparedness matters among our leadership. And what are these career politicians doing out in L.A.? They're just finger-pointing, politicking. That's it. And then even Gavin Newsom, I saw that he was being called out because he was fundraising on this and putting out on Democrat fundraising pages for people to donate. What a sin. It really is. It's lower than low rather than prioritizing people. And they have the audacity then to blame Trump somehow for making things political. It's not political when you criticize career politicians or politicians in general, elected officials, when they're not being held accountable and they're not doing their job. So we've got that going on. I love the story about the ERS. We'll get into that. President-elect Donald J. Trump announcing he's going to create the External Revenue Office, the External Revenue Service, upon his return to the White House. In other words, instead of sicking the IRS on hardworking individuals during tough times, why not look at all of our international business partners who aren't paying their fair share? I love that idea. I'll ask you for your thoughts. 855-839-1210. I have excerpts of the Bye-Bye Biden letter. President Joe Biden this evening, 8 o'clock this evening in prime time, will give a little bit of a speech, a little ditty, 9 to 10 minutes long. But we do have pieces of that letter. So we'll go through that as well as getting your thoughts on Biden. And yes, we've seen the Protecting Girls and Women Act, the House vote. All Republicans voted yes to protect girls and women in sports, in locker rooms. Only 2 Democrats voted for this thing. And we'll go through the list of shame in Pennsylvania, shame on Chrissy Houlihan, shame on Brendan Boyle, shame on Madeline Dean,
shame.
Montgomery County. Thank you.
Shame.
It really is a sin.
Shame.
The bell tolls
Shame.
for thee. They voted against protecting little girls, young women. It's really a sin. And then it's also a sin the way the media reports on this. This is not a ban. This is about protecting vulnerable individuals. We'll get into that. We hear now that there is some genuine competition for District Attorney Larry Krasner in the form of a very popular judge. We'll talk about Krasner's new competition in the upcoming May election. This is an important announcement. It's not getting the headlines that it probably deserves because, of course, of the headlines on Capitol Hill and the headlines that the incoming Trump administration consumes. So we'll get into all of that. So these nominees are the Senate confirmation hearing underway. Started at 9:30, and they're already running behind schedule, by the way, because 9:30 a.m. Pam Bondi, she's in the hot seat now. 10 a.m. the Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio, he was supposed to be up now, but he's not because we know this goes on and on and on. But throughout the day today, we'll see these various nominees. CIA Director nominee John Ratcliffe. We'll see the Energy Secretary nominee Chris Wright, as well as other Trump nominees. And then at 1 o'clock this afternoon, the Trump White House Budget Director nominee Russell Vought at the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. So all of these different individuals before the various committees. So we'll get to all of it. I promise you. I wanted to point out to you the top Republican James Comer is leading a charge now in Congress to make sure that federal government employees have accountability and that they come back to work in person. So this is how we learn about all of this. This is 220. Did you know this? 228,000 federal government employees. They've been working 100% virtually for years now since COVID. I don't know if you knew this. Not quite a third of a million people, but these are a lot of employees, government employees. Now, I'm not against if it's the most efficient process by which a private entity, let's say, they've decided that certain employees actually are working very efficiently. But my goodness.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
200. Did you know this, Dan?
No, I had no idea. And you're telling me a lot of these positions having some involvement of taxpayer funding, I would assume, since they're government
100%.
positions, right? Yeah.
You and me.
So we're paying for these people to sit at home and sit on their hands for more than half the day. You know they're not working the entire day. Like, I hate to, I don't want to throw my wife under the bus, but no, she actually does work the entire day up at our little desk. But I know of a lot of people who that abuse their ability to work from home. They'll work for an hour, then just sit and, press their mouse directions while they sit and eat lunch, go out to eat lunch. I can't believe we're post-COVID and we didn't rubber band back to a society where people return to work, and we're kind of dragging our asses and being lazy and not wanting to go back to work. It's not a healthy way to work. I apologize, but get back to work.
And
especially with my money.
Just the volume of this. It's just, we're not talking about a few here and there. We're talking about hundreds of thousands. So this was something James Comer, obviously he chairs the very powerful House Oversight Committee, and holding a hearing today on federal teleworking practices.
What's a city job that can be worked from home? I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm angry about this.
This is the question.
Like, think about it. Remote work is fine when you got a lot of clients in China because you're not going to be able to travel to see those clients anyway. So sure, yeah, that works. Or if you got clients across the country, sure, remote work makes sense in certain situations. When you're talking a local government or any kind of government, usually that's a localized position where you need to be in the office with other people to have those kind of face-to-face conversations. There is not one governmental job that makes sense for you to sit on your ass at home and do your work from home. Get back to work again and stop complaining about it.
So Comer said after meeting he met with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Like I say, they're having the hearing today. And so he said at the very least, President Trump expects the federal workforce by the millions, 2.2 million-ish, to show up they want to make sure at the very least that if it has been decided that they would be teleworking on a regular, this is Monday through Friday, daily basis, that there's a way for transparency to make sure that they are indeed showing up for work. So I'm inferring that, like Dan Borowski, our great executive producer, just alluded to, if you work in the private sector, you know that sometimes it's a pain in the neck for people because they monitor your computer, they monitor the mouse, the movement, et cetera. There are many ways that a private employer can make sure that somebody's, doing the work. And I will say this, I don't know if those types of measures are in place for hundreds of thousands of federal workers. And I think that's what I'm inferring from this, what we're hearing so far. So we're going to learn more. Just want to put that on your radar. I knew I'd definitely fire Dan up. I know that
you really got me going there.
California. You know what? Pam Bondi is speaking. I don't know where I know we have Sean Parnell coming up. I don't know if you want to take a snippet of it.
Yeah, you want to bump in? Let's bring down Dolly and let me fade up some Pam. She looks great today, by the way.
She does.
Yeah.
Pinstripe.
Yeah, here we go, Dawn.
I was term limited. I would probably still be there right now had I not been kicked out of office by term limits. I loved being Attorney General.
Of Florida.
I did my best to keep Florida safe, to continue to stand up for victims of crime, and to fight the opioid crisis and the drug crisis that was not only facing Florida, but this entire country. Out of the top 100, this is one of the things I'm the most proud of, oxycodone dispensers in the entire country, I believe it was 98 of them, 90 or 98 of them, lived in Florida. We fought for tough legislation. Kids were dropping dead every day. We fought for tough legislation, and after that legislation, none of those opioid dealers, doctors, practiced in Florida. We fought to eliminate human trafficking by raising awareness and prevention and talking to parents and talking to children. We also provided critical resources, including safe houses, that my state was lacking. On the civil side, we worked to protect consumers. We tackled everything, including off-label prescription marketing, which affects, as you know, many, many people who can't afford prescriptions as well. We partnered with states' attorneys general from both parties and federal agencies across administrations. We went after price gougers during hurricanes. If confirmed as the next Attorney General of the United States, my overriding objective will be to return the Department of Justice to its core mission of keeping Americans safe and vigorously prosecuting criminals. And that includes getting back to basics: gangs, drugs, terrorists, cartels, our border, and our foreign adversaries. That is what the American people expect, and that is what they deserve from the Department of Justice.
So that is Pam Bondi, Attorney General nominee for the nation under Trump, first female AG in Florida. And I know that the legacy media, as it's called, the corporate-owned media, they're calling her an election denier because she was somebody who, as an attorney, she was defending Trump, and she also defended him, I think, during what was one of the first, they were trying to boot him, right? So she's a very loyalist to Trump. By the way, she was also named as far as the America First Policy Institute, and it has launched the New Jersey state chapter. Told you about that when I had interviewed Paula Scanlon and talking to her about being a UPenn swimmer, right? And she's doing a lot with them. And then, of course, our own Matt Rooney. We're very proud of Matt. He's an attorney and a talk show host here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. But Matt Rooney is the founder of the influential platform Save Jersey as well. He's going to serve as executive director of the AFPI New Jersey chapter. Matt. So I heard, and I will get into Rich Zeoli. I did not know that Rich had this foot bone infection, and we prayed for him last night at the family dinner. We were so sick in our house. I feel terrible that I didn't know about Zeoli. And I was
situation, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He's been in the hospital.
What a trooper, though, doing the show from
Oh
the
my
hospital,
gosh.
right?
I didn't bother him because I thought, oh, he's doing all this Fox News stuff. Maybe a little work done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Let's just say, Rich,
I had no idea
I hope he get to Wegmans soon, man.
I know. So I'll get into that one. But Rich, I know that he's going to have Matt Rooney on and some others and talk more about this. And it's really exciting stuff. But the America First Policy Institute launching the New Jersey state chapter and announcing leadership to champion Garden State priorities. This is important with AFPI and strengthening public safety, education. And so Pam Bondi, obviously, she's an America First nominee, and that was announced just on January 13th. They just announced the Jersey chapter officially yesterday. So we'll get into all of this, but we have Sean Parnell. He was there yesterday in D.C., needs no introduction. We'll catch up with Sean as well and get your thoughts. 855-839-1210. Thanks for being here.
Hi, it's John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, a live call-in show airing every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. on WPHT. What would you do to protect yourself this cold and flu season? Well, medical hydration therapy at Innovative Medical Associates could help to boost your immune system. That's because vitamin C and other key nutrients are delivered intravenously right to your cells. Medical hydration therapy may even lessen symptoms should you become ill with a virus or suffer with long COVID or post-COVID conditions. Dr. Molly Fantasia at Innovative Medical Associates prescribes a personalized treatment plan for every patient.
We are a medical facility. We treat our IV protocols or our hydration protocols as a medical modality.
Learn more about the benefits of medical hydration therapy at innovativemedicalassociates.com. And be sure to join Dr. Molly and me on Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 for Health Watch on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I'm John Morgan. When you call Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, your very own army springs into action immediately, 24/7. Our investigators, legal staff, and over 900 lawyers work together to fight to get you the best result as quickly and easily as possible. Insurance companies know who we are, and now you know it too. This firm was built for greatness. This firm was built for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. Morgan & Morgan, official partner of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Revamp your living space with Emmons Remodeling.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts bring creativity and expertise to every project, ensuring stunning results for you and your family.
From new layouts to upgraded finishes, at Emmons Remodeling, we do it all.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
To inside and out.
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Isn't it time to invest in yourself? Well, how about this? Start at PI Dental Center with decades of experience in complex dental treatment, and I've been a patient at PI Dental for 20 years. Dr. Glenn Wolfinger and Dr. Robert Slough, they're board-certified prosthodontists. They specialize in the restoration and replacement of teeth, and PI Dental Center are the originators of the teeth in a day. It's a revolutionary treatment that delivers fixed teeth and implants placed for a dramatic transformation in a mere one day. So visit PIDentalCenter.com. That's PIDentalCenter.com to request your new patient evaluation.
The pro football playoff season is here, and there's one place to be. The BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Your home for wagertainment, giving you the sharpest insights and bringing on expert guest analysis.
From point spreads to props, live betting to futures, BetQL has you covered every step of the way with wall-to-wall coverage on the road to the championship in New Orleans.
Listen live on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM, on the free Odyssey app and twitch.tv/BetQL or YouTube at Odyssey Sports.
Drive off in your dream car with an auto loan from American Heritage Credit Union. We're proud to offer low rates and flexible terms to ensure you're getting the vehicle you truly want. Lock in with low monthly payments and terms up to 84 months. Or if your lease is nearing its end, consider a lease buyout to stick with your reliable vehicle. To learn more, visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/auto. Insured by NCUA. Not a member? Join today. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Free speech lives here with Don Stensland, 10 till noon on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's 7 years old.
And she was, and you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Those were false charges.
Well,
it was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared.
So proud of Pete Hegseth because, you know, not for nothing, but most of it, I'd be like, you scumbag, you schmuck. Didn't you? You were abuser.
Yeah.
Weren't you accused of, you know what I mean? Like, ugh, your blood boils.
But I feel like that's what they were going
life.
for, right? They wanted that kind
yeah.
of reaction. They wanted him to blow up, but he's not going to. He's Pete Hegseth.
He's Mr. Cool, you know?
Calm, collected.
Calm, collect. The hair, the look, very fit, combat veteran, and as well, I think all the years as a Fox News host, certainly polished. And knowing that he had the backing of so many of our veterans. We talked to Charlie Strange on Monday. I talked to him, and Charlie had said that many Gold Star families wanted to be there and wanted Pete to know, we're here for you, we're supporting you. And another combat veteran, as well as New York Times best-selling author, host of Battleground Live, unapologetically American, dad, husband, leader. We love you, Sean Parnell. I don't know what better intro I can give to you, but we do. I hope you're feeling the love, my friend.
Hey, that was great. That was a great intro. Thank you for giving it, Dawn. It's great to be here with you.
Oh, it's always good to hear from you. So your take on Pete Hegseth, how he did yesterday in the hot seat in the face of what I really was cringing with some of the Democrats. I thought they reached a new low, but just your take on how, you know, how you think Pete did, how you think that will go for him.
Well, first, I'll address how Pete did. I think he was phenomenal. You know, he was cool, he was calm, he was collected. he knows his stuff. He really does. And first of all, I've known Pete for a very long time. We were in the infantry, in the Army infantry. I knew Pete long before he was a host on Fox and Friends. Like, we built Concerned Veterans for America together back in 2013, 2014. So he and I have been very close friends for a long time. So just all cards on the table there. But Pete is when he said, yeah, you might see me as a Fox and Friends host, but people who know me know where my heart is, and that's with the war fighters. That is 100% true. This is a guy that loves our military, it loves our war fighters, and what I mean by that is the people who are front towards enemy. And that's precisely what we needed in a new Secretary of Defense, somebody who actually, as Pete said, has dust on his boots, and I couldn't agree more. But one of the things about Pete is, like, and I think you touched on this, Fox and Friends and being a TV host, that helps. That's experience, television experience and experience in front of that camera, in front of that microphone, as you know. It doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. So I think that he was super articulate, and his knowledge on the issues just, I think, put a lot of those Democrats to shame who were just cringeworthy on so many levels. And, you had they were trying to hit Pete early on policy, and that didn't work. Yeah. And then they pivoted to women in combat, and they were twisting his words. They said, oh, you don't support women in the military, moms in the military, women in combat. Yeah. But that's not actually what Pete said, Dawn. Pete said he doesn't like the idea of women in combat roles. And so what that means is, in the light infantry, like where I was, where, listen, there were times in Afghanistan, Dawn, where we were very, very close to fighting hand to hand. And I'm sorry, anybody that's listening to this show, and I think America does not want to see its daughters fighting hand to hand with a male enemy on the battlefield. That the men are bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. That's just a fact. But that doesn't mean that women can't be helicopter pilots. That doesn't mean that women can't rise to the level and be extraordinary, naval commanders, command an aircraft carrier. It doesn't mean that women can't rise to the rank of general in the Army and do extraordinary things. But if you're in the infantry and you've got to carry a guy like me who's 6'2", 245 pounds, after I've been shot in the leg off the battlefield, I'm sorry, that's a tall order, even for the strongest of men. So I think his perspective is grounded in realism, and he knows what it feels like to have a bullet crack by his head, and that's just so needed. And so when the women in combat thing didn't work, they went to the Tim Kaine stuff, which was just an embarrassment, trying to humiliate him. And I'll just tell you, Dawn, these Democrats are just – we're not sending our best. They're not sending their best. And, Hirono, the senator from Hawaii, oh, well, I'll just take that to mean that you support shooting protesters in the leg. I'm sorry. How dumb could you be to say? I was there. I was at the hearing. The entire room laughed to themselves when she said that, and how stupid she was. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it, but it's just the truth. It's just insanely stupid to say something like that.
In June of 2020, then President Trump directed former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper to shoot protesters in the legs in downtown D.C., an order Secretary Esper refused to comply with. Would you carry out such an order from President Trump?
Senator, I was in the Washington, D.C. National Guard unit that was in Lafayette Square during those events.
Would you carry out an order to shoot protesters in the legs?
I saw 50 Secret Service agents get injured by rioters trying to jump over the fence, set the church on fire, and destroy a statue.
That sounds to me that you will comply with such an order. You will shoot protesters in the
We'd like to shoot you in the leg. No, not really.
It's the stupidest. It's so
dopey.
It was so stupid. It was even look. I was sitting in the front row right behind him. The press was sitting right behind me. You could hear the liberal media be like, "Okay, come on, man! Like this is just completely off the rails," And he just outclassed these Democrats on every single level. On every single level. I mean, look, if you're going to attack Pete and really try to move the needle politically on these hearings, ask substantive questions. what do you want to do about the maritime shipping lanes north of Greenland? How do you foresee the future of PACOM in the Indo-Pacific and the rising threat of communist China? There are a million things that you could have done, but they didn't do any of them. And the reason, Dawn, is because these Democrats still don't understand why they got the shellacking of a lifetime in 2024. They just don't get it. And I say, keep doubling down on stupid, because you're just going to keep losing.
Yeah, maybe we should be glad, but it was cringeworthy, Sean Parnell. And I will say this: I mean, as a woman, I think, and I'm fit. I say this, I'm fit. I work out. I have teenage sons. We got weights all over my house. You're like tripping over them, right? But the truth is, I'm a realist, and part of, I think, this whole narrative that, and it's a media narrative, it's a social media narrative. You've seen, even in Hollywood, in movies, the woman who's this like gorgeous woman who's probably all of 5'1" and 100 pounds soaking wet, and she's in a gown and 6-inch heels, and now all of a sudden these guys, come out and all SWAT, and these fit huge guys, and she's put you, and she's hurling them as if that's reality. And so part of this, to me personally, just watching all of this, is saying, yeah, the best person for the job. I agree with what Joni Ernst and Hegseth talked about, which is, high standards. I mean, if you're that Amazon woman, remember the blonde Amazon woman on Game of Thrones, and she looks like 7 feet tall,
absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Put her on the front line. You go, girl. But have the standard, and that's really, we have to think about reality.
No, I completely agree, and that's the core of it. It's the standard. And just so Senator Tom Cotton raised an important point yesterday. He tried to clarify the combat role thing a little bit, but he also said the PT test. Right now, the PT time is like a 2-mile run in 22 minutes. I think that's what he said, 2 miles in 22 minutes. But back when I was in the Army, it was like 2-mile run in 16 minutes just to pass. If you ran a 2-mile run in less than 16 minutes, you didn't pass. So you can see right there how the standard has slowly eroded over time. And look, this isn't. If we sit here and say with honesty that men should not compete in women's sports because men have a physical competitive advantage over women, if you put LeBron James in the WNBA, he's going to be utterly he's just biology.
Yeah.
Well, if that's how we feel about sports, combat, I think people have like this perhaps overly rosy view of what combat is like. It is horrifying and violent, and if you lose, you're seriously wounded or you're dead.
Yeah.
So if you believe that men shouldn't compete in women's sports, then certainly I think you would also agree that you don't want women in direct combat roles surrounded by men who are trying to kill them. Although, hey, listen, I served with a couple of women who could just run me into the ground, right? Like they could seriously, they could just run me into the ground. If you're a woman that you want to serve in the infantry and you meet the standard, maybe that's another conversation, but but even that, listen, Dawn, we had that too. Even that presents an enormous, just a ton of command challenges, leadership challenges. When you have mixed unit on the front lines of war, where you could leave the wire and be dead in 12 hours, believe me, most people, and I mean men and women, throw caution to the wind and say, I might not be here in 12 hours. And when people throw caution to the wind, it just gets really challenging.
What was it like, Sean Parnell, because you were right behind Pete, we could see you behind. What was it like when Senator Jack Reed from Rhode Island asked with a straight face Pete Hegseth to define what is a jagoff? What was the reaction? It's probably my favorite moment. Again, I would have said, well, when I look in the dictionary, I see your face, dude.
Briefed by a JAG officer. By the way, would you explain what a jagoff is?
I don't think I need to, sir.
That was
Senator Jim Banks and I. So Senator Jim Banks said to me after the hearing, he's like, I think Pete Hegseth described Jagoff quite well. So, again, he just like the core of what Pete was saying there was that you have these JAG officers, judge, advocate, general officers, these lawyers, these prosecutors that work for the Army or any branch of the military. And their job is to prosecute soldiers for violations, for any violation of the UCMJ. But when you're in combat, it tends to be violation of rules of engagement. And what Pete was trying to say, I mean, the Democrats were talking about, the Geneva Convention and all this. But the reality is that we have generals and politicians in Washington micromanaging decisions made in the heat of combat on the battlefield. And when that happens, it creates hesitation in our servicemen and women, and that hesitation could kill them. Because if you have somebody in the trenches who's afraid of engaging the enemy because they might get thrown in jail because some politician in an air-conditioned office in Washington might get mad at them, might prosecute them, that's a very bad thing. So what Pete was trying to articulate there in that hearing was that what we need to do is empower our war fighters, get these lawyers off of their back, and fight wars to win them so that our sons and daughters can come home alive. Like our soldiers in many cases, especially, thankfully, we did not have this problem when we were in Afghanistan because the political eyes of this nation were wholeheartedly focused on Iraq in 2006, 2007. But in 2008, 2009, 2010, all the politicians in Washington were focused on Afghanistan. And I have soldiers come back from the fight on leave and tell me that they weren't even allowed to return fire in an ambush if it was in the vicinity of an Afghan home. Now, I understand you've got to do everything you can to minimize collateral damage and protect, the civilian populace in Afghanistan. Of course you do. That's who we are as Americans. But you're telling our troops they can't return fire when they're being fired upon? I got a real problem with that because that puts America's sons and daughters in danger, and we shouldn't do that. And so that's the core of what he was talking about there.
Yeah. And so how when I listen to Pete Hegseth speaking, I heard, and there was so much in there yesterday, but essentially I feel that he'll be good for recruitment. Because of exactly what you're saying. People, my youngest son said, "Mom, it's cool to be a Marine." I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely. David is like, he just turned 18. I'm like, no. Because, and I'm sorry, but I know it's like.
You're like, nope.
Because of, now, will that be different under the new administration? But the culture has to change. I'm being real here. It's terrifying to think of what you're saying. And that essentially, and I'm a woman, right? But I care about the fact of my son going in there, and I don't want him sacrificed because of basically the failure of leadership, and this is the top. And so how much do you, seriously, how much do you think this changes the culture and then changes the problems we have with recruitment?
Well, Dawn, first of all, that perspective that you just gave is very powerful to me and resonates with me deeply because, I've got 5 kids. I've got 3 who are becoming great, amazing, strong young women, and I've got 2 boys. And I completely agree. You want to sacrifice, you want your son or daughter to volunteer to serve this country and send them off to fight some foreign war where, they're not going to actually be able to fight back and might get hurt or, God forbid, even killed. That's a terrifying position to be in as a parent. And it leads you to a place where you tell your kid, hey, maybe don't do this, And believe me, as somebody who served this country in uniform and doesn't regret it for a second, it was tough, but I don't regret it for a second. That's a tough place to be. So I think with a guy like Pete, who is talking about decentralizing that authority and empowering combat leaders to make decisions on the battlefield that are in the best interest of their troops is a very good thing. Not only will it be better for troops who are currently serving and currently in dangerous places all around the world, I think it does bolster recruitment because you're going to have parents who say, well, look, we got the best of the best leading America's sons and daughters, and they're going to be empowered to make decisions on the battlefield. It's never easy as a parent to say, yeah, you're always worried as a parent when your son or daughter signs up. but at least you know you're sending them in with the best and the brightest empowered to make decisions on behalf of a grateful nation, as opposed to some lawyer lording over everything that they do in Washington, So I think it does help recruiting for sure.
I know we have to go, but I just wanted to ask you what that was like when there were protesters and demonstrators. It appeared to me, and you're right there, but it looked like they were resisting the officers. And the one first guy, they had to carry the guy out.
Yeah. I kind of wish that they did that to Tim Kaine, too, after his line of questioning, because he's just such an idiot. And, how about this guy? How about this? Brush your freaking hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Brush your hair before you get into a Senate hearing. But, yeah, the audience was just kind of laughing. I mean, those people are just fundamentally unserious people. But, go to any Ivy League college campus, and you'll probably find 1,000 people just like that. But again, the left just doesn't understand why they lost this election. Keep doubling down on stupid, and you'll continue to lose. But Pete I think he's going to be confirmed. Mm-hmm. Joni Ernst came out yesterday and said that she supports him after the hearing. Barring any unforeseen circumstances between now and January 21st, when the vote in the full Senate is scheduled, he looks like he's a lock. And so this is so important for not just Pete and our Department of Defense, but also President Trump and the incoming administration and his cabinet. Because if we allowed Pete to be slandered and removed because of anonymous allegations, and they are all anonymous, fake, false allegations, then they would have just gone to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and RFK Jr. and Tulsi. It would have been the same playbook over and over and over again, and that would hamstring President Trump's ability to get things done and quickly. And so this is a great thing. We should be super excited. I mean, say a prayer between now and the inauguration and then the vote, but we're in very good footing right now.
I believe you're right, and I do agree with you that I think it set the tone for all of these. I think that, going first, it's never easy, but I think the way that Pete handled himself and the reaction from the public, I hope and pray that sets the tone for these confirmation hearings. So, Sean Parnell, is there anything that you want to promote right now that you're working on?
Oh, just my show on Rumble. Mm-hmm. It's Monday through Friday, 5 p.m.
Awesome
to 6 p.m. live on Rumble. Yeah, check it out. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely. So listen, thank you so much. Until next time, my friend. And you're a great American patriot. We really appreciate you.
Okay, thanks for having me, Dawn.
Thanks, Sean. Sean Parnell. So yeah, I mean, how about that? Hearing from somebody, combat veteran, speaking about Pete, has known Pete Hegseth long before he worked for Fox, all of that. I think that perspective is something that you needed to hear. So
really close friends with Pete.
Fantastic.
Really cool perspective as to the whole hearing. I do have Senator Joni Ernst's words post-hearing that he just referenced, Sean, if you want to take a listen.
He was adequately able to answer all of my questions. He pointed out the woke issues at the Pentagon. And I think we're at a point where now we can start moving forward. People know where he stands on these issues.
Yep.
So I felt it was a good hearing.
So that's I think she was critical, and we talked about this yesterday, and Dan was monitoring, as he always does, monitoring everything on all the different, feeds, but we took her live. You heard Joni Ernst. You heard the symmetry because, she and Pete Hegseth, they were talking about meeting in her office. I think that she absolutely is critical, and her words critical, because remember, she has worked on bipartisan legislation with others like Gillibrand and so on. So anyway, remember Battleground Live, Sean Parnell, check him out, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. I mean, thanks for booking him, Dan. Dan does a great job. So I know that we'll get to more on Pam Bondi looking fabulous in her pinstripe suit.
I wonder if Pam Bondi will be asked today.
Well, by the way, would you explain what a jag-off is?
Oh my gosh. I think she sails through. She's already, battle tested, if you will, 16 years, prosecutor, AG. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't see that she'll have a hard time. I also think with Senator Marco Rubio, I think that it's really tough when you've been a senator, you know these people, you've been working with them in a bipartisan way all these years. I don't see them being as nasty to Rubio. We'll see today. And Sean Parnell mentioned Tulsi. So I think Tulsi is the next one. They're going to be nasty to her. They do not want her. Remember Hillary Clinton had said, like, what did she say? She was like a Russian double agent or some. By the way, that's Hillary's. Maybe that's Hillary's fantasy. You know what I mean? I don't know what Hillary fantasizes about.
Fun moment from the Bondi hearing. We have Dick Durbin asking Bondi about the call to the GA Secretary of State, finding 11,780 votes, and Bondi pretty much smacks it down. And just take a listen.
He said to the Georgia Secretary of State, find 11,780 votes.
Do you have the entire context of that call? I feel like it was much longer than that and may have been taken out of context.
It was an hour long.
Right.
Thank you. Because if you listen to the one, we should do, you know what? This would be a fun exercise. We could even take callers. We could take each other and just take little snippets of each other and do it completely out of context.
Yeah.
And then replay it as if we're going to, hey, if you ever apply for some job in the Trump administration, this is the clip we're going to send out about you. And you think just imagine that. And that's really what happens here.
Jump on me. Go for it.
See,
That's what we
there
do
it is. And to which I would say, yeah, I was telling everybody, jump on me. Go for it. Make my day.
What are some of these in here?
He said,
We
want to hit that hard. Yeah. This is Nick Cale. And, I used to say, we were talking about a cooking segment, and then I just was like, whatever.
You know, just let it happen at this point. Yeah.
Just, but that's what they do. And so what they're counting on is for the public to be stupid. That's really what they're counting on the public to just believe everything they say and that they're a bunch of idiots. And the problem they're having now is that we have a society that's much more, that's pretty savvy and getting more savvy by the moment. And I saw this we'll get into this, but a study as to how many Americans have lost faith in our institutions, whether that's the government, the media. Those numbers just keep going. You and I, we're not surprised by this. But I think that for those individuals, like Sean Parnell said, that still live in this bubble and still think that they can, whatever they say goes, they're just not caught up. My goodness. All right. We got to talk about.
I feel like I get a lot of people in trouble with some of the out of context things.
I know. We see now, Dan.
Take and don't suck.
And for Rich Scioli, I felt so bad last night. I was in Carline because David has, theater practice, Mamma Mia, the big musical. And I'm waiting and I'm like hearing Rich talk about this. I had no idea he's been hospitalized for like a week. He had this surgery and a bone infection, which, by the way, the reason they have to hospitalize you, because if that infection goes into your blood, that can be deadly.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know if you knew this, but it's a thing.
Rich, get better, please.
So it's a very scary thing. And that's why, in all seriousness, he was kind of joking.
You're not doing a wall.
I know. He was rich. Yeah, Nancy, the vampire is not going to target him. He's safe. The vampires are like, blood infection. Yeah. But no, I'm for my friend Rich Scioli, I was freaking out kind of when I was listening to him. Wow. And the fact that he's still broadcasting, I'm a little worried about him, quite frankly. Because that blood, Mama Scioli is like, Richie, we need to come there. We need to give you some bone broth and some vitamins as I battle the Chinese.
I think they're blowing it out.
Has she won a Pulitzer yet?
We actually have a message from Mama Scioli to Rich.
Oh, be careful, baby.
I know. It's pretty scary stuff. By the way, speaking of my better half, so it's Lair Bear's birthday tomorrow.
Ooh.
So Michael and David said, Mom, Dad needs a new car. I think you have a connection, Piazza. He does need a new car. So I don't know if I'll be going today or tomorrow. He needs it.
Do you get one of those big bows too?
That'd be so much fun. Right. He has this vehicle. It's like it's like a tank. It's a Nissan Rogue, but it's like from 10 years ago. He loves this thing, but he needs the new vehicle. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Might be time.
He got pulled over yesterday because he was in Jersey and he was handling the phone. I think he was just moving it around, but he doesn't have like all the bells and whistles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So the car, you can't just like hook, the phone doesn't just.
It's not easy. You can't just take a call that rings in.
So the officer, I think even the state trooper took mercy on him. He gave him a warning, but he said, you're in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. You cannot handle the phone anymore. I think he was thinking like, dude, your wife, she, because they all listen, right?
Yeah.
Come on, Lair, get a new car. Come on. So that brings me to my friends at Piazza. I don't know if it's going to be a Mercedes or Jaguar. I don't even, he would, can you imagine?
Yeah.
That's trouble right there. Because then he'd be going like 200.
Yeah.
And they're not going to give him a warning ticket.
But it is a very nice ride.
But it's a sweet.
It's a really nice
And he
ride.
works very hard.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, he might be worth it.
He might be worth
Yeah.
it. I love my Lair Bear. Call him Lair Bear if you see him. He gets triggered. But seriously, Piazza Premium Automobiles, they do have the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. I'm talking Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, oh my gosh, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati. Can you picture yourself in one of these vehicles? These are powerful, sleek, all new designs, innovative features powered by the very latest in technology. And they have thousands of new as well as certified pre-owned vehicles, and they're available right now across Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey dealerships. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Just visit them, Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at St. Mary's Catholic Church in Cherry Hill, Saturday, February 8th, with Dennis Horan and Vince Valentine. For tickets, go to JoeConklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
It's go time for your fitness. The Newtown Athletic Club, or NAC, in Bucks County invites you and your family to check out the globally recognized top lifestyle club with the finest amenities, programs, coaches, and equipment to give you all the tools needed to enhance your overall health and wellness in one membership. The NAC offers a variety of family-friendly gym memberships to accommodate each stage of your life, from youth to active aging, young families to empty nesters, and ask about Escape Resort. Schedule a visit. Go to newtownathletic.com.
Inflation, recession, interest rates, the Fed. How do you make sense of it all? Join Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
The election is over and a new pro-business administration's about to begin. At Swish Funding, we're ready to help America's small businesses thrive in 25. Whether it's for cash flow, expansion, or new equipment, Swish Funding has flexible funding options from $25,000 up to $2 million. You could get a decision in minutes and cash in your account in as little as 24 hours, with rates as low as 8%. To qualify, be in business at least 1 year, with monthly revenue of at least $50,000. Apply today at swishfunding.com. SWISH funding.com. Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have someone else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement but don't have a plan customized to your goals, that's kind of like taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in your suitcase. Seems like a stressful way to start what should be a relaxing time. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to help reduce future taxes, along with a clearly defined income strategy. Call Jim at 610-894-7415 for your complimentary retirement game plan, or visit retirereadyfg.com. That's 610-894-7415.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Homeowners, improve your family's comfort with a Bradford White water heater and enjoy all the hot water your household needs all day, every day. With Bradford White, you get more than just a water heater. You get our commitment to quality and reliability that you can trust. How you heat your water matters, so don't compromise when it comes to your home or your hot water. Bradford White water heaters are built to be the best because your home deserves it. Visit bradfordwhite.com to learn more and find an installation pro near you.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
SEPTA says it's back on track and ready for Eagles fans after a flub in service last Sunday. High winds delay the final sail for the former USS John F. Kennedy aircraft out of the Navy Yard. Governor Phil Murphy is calling for extended paid paternal leave for state workers caring for newborn.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet?
Not yet.
Do it today.
Okay.
At 1210 WPHT.
But ultimately, under President Trump, the top priority of the United States Department of State will be the United States. The direction he has given for the conduct of our foreign policy is clear. Every dollar we spend, every program we fund, every policy we pursue must be justified by the answer to one of three questions. Does it make America safer? Does it make America stronger? Or does it make America more prosperous?
So that is Senator Marco Rubio, who obviously President-elect Donald J. Trump nominated to be Secretary of State. He's a sitting senator from Florida, obviously. He has bipartisan buddies because he's been working with them side by, even though sometimes they butt heads, they work together and they know each other. So I feel he does have bipartisan backing. I believe his hearing that is underway now started within the past hour. I believe that he will see smooth sailing, and I believe that Senator Rubio, will be the next Secretary of State under the greatest president of all time, Donald J. Trump. But he's talking about the United States in the past under the current administration putting other nations above our core national interest. I think that's how we feel. I think that's true, and I think we need to put our priorities back in place as far as the global order of things, and no other country should be above our interests, right? I mean, isn't that a no-brainer? That's what he's talking about. So he's on the hot seat in one confirmation hearing, and then, of course, the Honorable Pam Bondi in another her own Senate Judiciary Committee hearing as far as, her own pick. So
I got another clip of Pam Bondi if you want it.
Oh, yes.
Heard talking with Sheldon Whitehouse.
And it would not be appropriate for a prosecutor to start with a name and look for a crime. It's a prosecutor's job to start with a crime and look for a name, correct?
Senator, I think that is the whole problem with the weaponization that we have seen the last 4 years and what's been happening to Donald Trump. They targeted Donald Trump. They went after him, actually starting back in 2016. They targeted his campaign. Yeah. They have launched countless investigations against him. That will not be the case if I am Attorney General. I will not politicize that office. I will not target people simply because of their political affiliation. Justice will be administered even-handedly throughout this country. Senator, we've got to bring this country back together. We've got to move forward, or we're going to lose our country.
Amen. Great answer. So Pam Bondi is in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Like I said earlier, this hearing is for Trump's choice to lead the Department of Justice. Just think about that. DOJ headed by Pam Bondi rather than Merrick Garland, who, by the way, just now is going after Elon Musk with regard to SEC alleged violations involving Musk's Twitter buyout and so on. It just continues, the persecution, doesn't it? Right up until the last minute. We have to go because around the corner, another great guest will tell you, and you'll hear from a local doctor about some of these latest studies, but as well, what's happening in the suburbs. You want to hear about this important news that will be breaking here on The Dolan Show, 855-839-1210. Quick break. Stay right there.
Start the new year by making a statement in your home with beautiful, high-quality furniture from Bucks County Estate Traders. Each one of their 16,000 pieces is meticulously cared for and inspected before being displayed. Many pieces are even reupholstered by their talented team of craftsmen. You can furnish every room in your home with one trip to Bucks County Estate Traders. Their team of knowledgeable professionals provides a relaxed and rewarding experience. Visit buckscountyestatetraders.com or their showroom in Hatfield.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Information Kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. too. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
It's time to get focused. Focused on improving the lives of our beloved pets by feeding them the most nutritious pet food on the planet. With 2 decades of experience, the Dogs and Cats Rules stores can guide you in the right direction to meet your pet's needs. Fads come and go, but there's no substitute for premium meat inclusive food for your pets. If you changed your pet's food lately and they're starting to look like a shaggy dog, smelly ears and biting their feet all the time, you need to come into one of our 7 very convenient locations or visit dogsandcatsrule.pet.
Keeping your home warm, efficient, and safe in winter is paramount. That's why I'm a customer of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. They get my home winter ready. A 3rd-generation owned and veteran-founded company. Get your furnace checked for winter. If they feel your unit needs to be replaced, they're going to give you an honest assessment at a fair price and install a high-efficiency Train furnace. It's hard to stop a train. Contact Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning, Marvin E. Cans, KANZE.com. Tell Dawn sent you.
You may be ready for retirement, but is your money? Learn how to make your money work overtime. Tune in to The Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen. Saturdays at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause. Brought to you by the Labor and Energy Alliance this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that will affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Rhea here to tell you about the exciting things going on at Lexus of Cherry Hill. The L-certified winter collection sales event is going on now. New year, new ride. Receive special finance rates on L-certified Lexus models now through March 3rd. Over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Lexus of Cherry Hill is family and veteran owned and operated, and a 7-time J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence recipient for the customer sales experience. Visit LexusofCherryHill.com.
For J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence information, visit jdpower.com/US-DOE.
There are times where high standards are vital. For example, your football team wouldn't let just anyone start at quarterback. And should you let just anyone give you guidance? We don't think so. In fact, at California Psychics, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. You see, we come from the home of free spirits and open minds. We're not short of spiritual believers or big dreamers. It's why we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. California Psychics connect you with the very best, so we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So, there's never been a better time to give our services a try. That sounds like a touchdown to me. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
As the all-important confirmation hearings are underway on Capitol Hill, as well as so much news that we're talking about all morning long, since 6 o'clock this morning, reporting to you, Dawn Stensland here, reporting live from Odyssey World Headquarters in Philadelphia. I want to welcome in my next guest, who is somebody local, celebrated doctor, pediatrician, Marion E. Mass. You can follow her on social media at Mass__ Marion, Marion. Wife, mom, doctor, pediatrician, also does a ton of gardening. I covet your guardian, Dr. Mass. Hi, Marion.
I'm missing my garden. There's not much growing right now.
Yeah, in this frigid weather. You know, I've interviewed you and talked to you about PBM reform. You have been serving on that bipartisan Capitol Hill panel where you have talked a lot about this, looked into this. And before we get to the Bucks County issue and what people need to know, I just wanted to ask you if, with regard to medical reform, transparency, all of that, are there any advancements that you can update us on? Because I know this is something that you continually work on, Or is there something that within the next, week or so, you expect some changes?
Oh, the next week or so.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that we'll get to it in the next week or so, but there's some great stuff happening. I don't look right before the last Congress broke. They looked at that big bill. I'm not unhappy that the big bill failed, but there was a lot of talk about putting PBM reform in there. And the big bill, the PBMs were not able to get, these are the drug pharmaceutical middlemen, they were not able to extract that from the big bill, which was a win for all of those of us who are pushing for real, true PBM reform. And there's a lot of us who think we can get something done in the upcoming Congress. Everyone is talking about it. I've had lawmakers tell me, you can't swing a cat around here without running into a middleman bill. Our president is talking about it. I've listened to his words. Look, I went to the White House in 2018, talked to them about PBMs. I'm sure others did too. It wasn't like they were calling only me. But, invited to the drug pricing panel in the Rose Garden the same year. President Trump has been big on this issue. But you know what? The other thing that I'll say is for anyone listening is this is an across-the-aisle issue. I believe it was yesterday or the day before, the FTC, and this is Biden's FTC, and there's people who do and don't like Lena Khan, but I think she's done some great work to expose these PBM middlemen. And so there was a second report released yesterday. The PBMs are responsible for 1,000% plus markups on life-saving drugs for cancer. Some of these drugs going up to like over 7,000%. And for those of us who have been watching, Dawn, you've been very upfront talking about your own son and, his diabetes diagnosis. And you and I have talked about this before. We've all done the deep dive, those increases in the costs of life-saving insulin. 80% of them were flowing to these drug middlemen. Now, keep in mind, these drug middlemen, they don't make the product. They don't do the research. They don't even move the stuff around the country. They're like a bunch of bookies writing contracts, and they do a whole lot more too. And, there's a lot of people angry at pharma right now, and I'm not saying that pharma is blameless, but there are times when we need pharmaceuticals. You just talked about your friend Rich Cioli, praying that he gets some good antibiotics and he's able to keep his infection out of his bloodstream. When you need pharmaceutical products, you need them. We have good pharmaceutical products from our country. Does pharma have to come to reckoning with some of what they've done and how they keep patents rolling? Absolutely. But low-hanging fruit, these middlemen, enough already. Once again, let's plan a series of shows, Dawn. I'll break it down. And for anyone listening in the Warrington area, the Warrington GOP has kindly asked me in to talk about these middlemen. I think that's coming up in February.
So we'll promote
I'm very
that.
excited about that. Yeah, I'll get you that information.
Yeah, we'd love it with Dr. Mass. So here's the thing, just to headline the latest news. And this is the Federal Trade Commission releasing that second report, really criticizing just really critical of how the business practices of pharmacy benefit managers, the PBMs, that's what we're talking about, and how they could be, inflating these drug costs in the U.S. And this is really the back and forth, right, between antitrust regulators in the Biden administration and then the controversial, the so-called middlemen that Dr. Miriam Emas is talking about in the drug supply chain. So, and full disclosure here, I've fully disclosed I have United Healthcare. You're talking about the Optum RX. They're among those accused, right, Dr. Mass, accused of jacking up the price of these life-saving drugs.
Absolutely. And, it's causing a problem down the line. If you think about it, too, like one of the other big PBMs is CVS Caremark. They're owned by CVS Health. And, yes, and Cigna owns Express Scripts that's now called something else, Evernorth, I think. When these little companies start changing their names, they must be busy doing something wrong. So
if you're
like
changing your name.
Signal.
Bat signal, I love it. So we wanted to update you on that one. The other story that and I had seen you actually just an hour ago, you wrote, our government hires Optum Serve, a branch of United Healthcare that owns one of the big three PBMs that we just mentioned. And then you wrote that our government granted PBMs the right to receive kickbacks and that's legal for them to do. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people still to this minute don't realize that, because what we're told is, oh, well, we provide you a concierge service. So this is, it's not described as the government even now is describing it as these investigators. But a lot of people think, oh, this is nice. It's a people-friendly concierge service. And they don't even realize what that means, because nothing's for free, No,
nothing's for free, and especially the drugs that make it onto the formularies. I mean, people like to call them rebates, but I call them kickbacks because they have that exemption from the anti-kickback statutes. One of the functions of PBMs is to create the list of drugs called formularies that your insurance company covers. So the insurance company owns the PBM collects money from the pharmaceutical companies. How are we to come to any other conclusion is that they take that money and then that's what they put on the formulary? It's like it's pay to play, and it's becoming a very big problem. It's been a big problem for a long time. When I learned about this in 2018, I thought, oh my gosh, people are going to be thrilled in Washington, D.C. This is when I was naive. I'm going to go tell them about these kickbacks, and they're going to want to do something about it. And
yes.
Turns out, like the physicians in Congress, a lot of them do want to do something about it, and they've been some of the premier people in working on this reform, and across the aisle. Although I will say there have been more friendly Republicans for this than there have been friendly Democrats for this. That's just a factual bit of information. But there have been some, and they've been excellent on both sides of the aisle. But yes, they receive kickbacks. The government gave them that right. And the other thing, it's 100% true that both HHS and CMS have contracts with Optum Serve, which is an arm of United Healthcare. I believe one of the contracts, I'll have to look into my details, but one of them, Optum Serve, is helping the government find, root out, define, and prevent waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, if they're charging you, if they're marking up by over 7,000%, and they're collecting kickbacks, and they're the ones that are coming in to prevent waste, fraud, and abuse, this is madness. I mean, It's like laughable. Where's the Doge? Come on, Doge. I'm waiting for you. Just call. Look me up. I have an open inbox on X.
This is, it's so true when you talk about transparency, and also you've been concerned about hospital price transparency. So is that something that you see will, get better? You had actually texted me the other day about that, how much it could save, $1 billion with hospital price transparency. Every time, and it's not me, it's not my husband, it's my son with the type 1, right? So, geez, something goes wrong, and then you end up in the hospital. And then the other day he said, I'm not going to the ER because of the hospital bill, which, then your heart just sinks. You don't want, anybody in your life to think about that. But I think people do, because they know that bill that is going to be this big surprise. And it's like the game of Monopoly where, you land on the wrong thing and boom, you get this huge bill and think, oh my goodness, how am I going to pay this?
Oh, it's very frightening. And, in the big picture, if our insurance companies are coming along and saying, hey, we're paying more for these drugs, and then they're coming along and they're saying we're paying this big outlay for this hospital stay, then they come along to the patients later and they say, we have up your premiums. I mean, everyone's premiums have gone up year by year. And it's once again, just like I said with pharmaceuticals, the hospitals, we need hospitals. But if the hospitals are pushing back against having price transparency for their prices, one should be asking, why are they pushing back? If you're hiding something, you must have something to hide. Yeah. And this has been another issue that in the House, they really look like they took this on. Energy and Commerce had the best bill on hospital price transparency. They passed it unanimously. This is a bipartisan committee. They passed a great bill unanimously. The bill got watered down by, other committees. And then even so, the House still, with a big margin and in a bipartisan way passed a price transparency bill, and they did it at the end of 2023, and the Senate just sat on it. I mean, I'd like to know from Chuck Schumer why he's just sitting on that, you know, because then nothing happened, and price transparency didn't make it even into the final year-end bill, which, by the way, little segue, we should all be complaining all year long and telling them, stop putting it off into the end and trying to fool us with some big omnibus bill at the end of the year, because then that's when we get in trouble, right? You know, like, because Lord knows what's stuffed into an omnibus bill. It turns into you got to pass it to know what's in it, which I'm really not interested in that kind of a bill. They need to get on their jobs and get their jobs done way before we hit December.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my gosh, Dawn, as a pediatrician, imagine, I said this actually when I did a panel in Congress, imagine if I only was trying to look like I was doing my job. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in doing my job and taking care of my patients. Why aren't they?
That's well said. I laugh, but it's sort of like you want to laugh and cry all at once, you know, when you think about the reality of what you just said. I will say Dan Borowski had a great question, because just this morning the news broke that the Biden administration, the FDA, now banning the use of red dye number 3, the synthetic dye. We've talked a lot about this. I mean, I don't think it goes into effect until like 2027 or 28 or something. But, you know, as a pediatrician, you know this well with your garden. You talk about eating whole foods. So what's your reaction to the fact that, you know, finally they've done what I think other like states like California did a long time ago?
My reaction is, why give us something we don't need? I think in honor of this, I'm going to take a picture of my garden beets and put them up on the on my Twitter. They have great beets, and they make such a beautiful color, and I make this wonderful hummus. And people are like, "My God, look at this! It's a beautiful color. What's in it?" I'm like, beets. You know, no red dye number 3 or 5 or whatever. I don't care what number you got. Why do we need it?
Yeah, it's you know, I learned it, and we're going to Italy again this spring. For the first time when I was in Italy, we've talked about it, eye-opening to me, how they and the people in Europe and other countries in the world, they talk about America, how they are baffled at the fact that we say we're the greatest nation. I think we are, but that our government allows the processing, and I think now we're becoming aware. Anyway, I want to switch gears because I want to talk about something, and that is the AAP president, right? This is somebody who practiced in Bucks County for 36 years, and there are some concerns, and I saw this trending on social media, wanted to ask you about this particular individual because I'm seeing more and more. She's the newly elected president of the American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, and her name is Dr. Susan Cressley. So why is it that I'm seeing this concern? I'm getting DMs, I'm getting texts, I'm seeing it on social media, not being maybe widely reported as far as concerns, but are you hearing the same thing, and what are your concerns?
I'm hearing from a lot of pediatricians that they were very angry at the letter that was put out on January 8th, 2025, addressed to the Secretary Anthony Blinken, and it was regarding a pediatrician in Gaza. And from what I can read, there is question that this pediatrician has ties to Hamas and the hospital that he was working at does. And the letter at the beginning, it says, on behalf of the American Academy of Pediatrics, a nonprofit professional medical organization of 67,000 primary care pediatricians, pediatric medical specialists, and surgical specialists dedicated to health, safety, and well-being, Dr. Cressley is writing to seek the assistance of the U.S. government to inquire about this pediatrician's whereabouts. Now, what do when I read this, I think a couple things. I think, first of all, I don't want to be put into a position, if I were in charge of a large pediatric organization with everything else that we have as problems in medicine, that all of a sudden for geopolitical conflicts that I'm supposed to be an expert on that too. I mean, I don't know. Does the AAP offer geopolitical expertise classes to their presidents and to all the people that serve on their board? I mean, it's a nonprofit. You can go look it up. There's 28 people on that board with six-figure salaries. Their CEO and EVP, by the way, is a lawyer who makes close to $800,000. But I don't look upon it that this is something that I want in my role as a pediatrician. There's enough that we need to advocate for to get good quality medical care in our country and to get our children healthy again. During my time as a pediatrician, I've watched a rise in mental health problems, physical health problems, chronic diseases, increasing costs, decreasing access, and yet I pick this up. And the other thing that I have to say is that when October 7th, 2023 happened, that was horrifying. And it took the AAP until the end of February to write a letter about that. Mm-hmm. So why is there this big discrepancy days after this pediatrician with potential ties to a terrorist organization is detained, days after someone is writing to inquire about his whereabouts? And yet after October 7th, when we know young women were raped, kidnapped, children are still in captivity from the October 7th kidnapping.
Yes.
And it took them months to comment on it. And if you look up their statement that they put out in February, it was a very non-biased statement, you could say. They spoke for children both in Gaza and in Israel. But this is a very unilateral move and a one-sided statement. And I think I'm hearing from pediatricians around the country that they're angry. And I've had several say they don't plan on giving them dues anymore. And I think what this does is it inflames a lot of tensions.
Yeah.
I don't understand how, it also bothers me because I think a lot of people have the misconception that every doctor belongs to the AMA, every pediatrician belongs to the AAP. I'm actually trying to find out percentages of doctors, of pediatricians that are AAP members. Because when I look up in the AAMC, there's only 62,000 active pediatricians in America. So I don't understand the number 67,000, number one. And number two, my goodness, the AMA, less than 12% of physicians in America belong to the AMA. I can't imagine that it's such a high percentage for the AAP. Maybe it is. I mean, I'm still trying to find out those numbers.
I had searched Dr. Mass under just the hashtag Stop Anti-Semitism, just to see, sometimes I'll go through and I'm just doing searches. And in this one, there are various groups from across the country where they're asking the question about Dr. Susan Kressley, the newly elected president of the American Academy of Pediatrics, and asking why, some of what you said, she's not advocating sort of for everybody, but rather seems to be using her position of power. And that's across the board, all these different groups that I don't necessarily think are connected. What they're saying is they're asking, first of all, the question, she used her position of power to reach out to Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and they say she's doing this in a way that's kind of scapegoating Israel for the ongoing war in Gaza, not advocating for the Jewish victims, but rather sort of one-sided in her approach. And also the fact that she's not speaking about the fact that medical institutions in that region are being sort of weaponized and used as these human shields for Hamas. Those are the things I'm seeing. Is that a piece of what you're hearing?
I'm definitely hearing that very thing. I think why people are hurt is they think to themselves, I don't think I've seen at any time that the AAP's come out and spoken against the atrocities on October 7th in a strong way. And yet we have, speaking out for this pediatrician captured. Now, should we have concern about the children who that pediatrician was taking care of? Well, of course. But, there was a hospital bombed in Kiev in July of this year. It was a pediatric hospital. There was no comment made for that. Children are captured by Boko Haram in Africa, and there's no AAP commentary about that. The question is why are we so very quick to jump onto this issue and to bring it up? And in a way, it feels a little bit like, we had all the problems on the college campuses, and people are questioning, wait a second, why aren't you coming down on demonstrations when people seem to be lifting up the work of terrorists? This glory to the martyrs. And I'm not saying the AAP said that. They didn't. But again, essentially what this does is, at a time when we have a growing distrust for doctors, I know this, we talk about it all the time as physicians. People are distrusting us for many reasons, but this is going to take a certain segment of the population, our Jewish friends, and especially Jewish doctors. Now they will have distrust in the AAP. I certainly hope, I will say that I do know that the practice that Dr. Cressley ran here was very well regarded, and I've talked to many patients that were patients there, and they loved their care at the practice, and the practice still has her name on it, and they still love their care there, and that there's very good doctors there. And I don't mean to be creating distrust there, but the public needs to hear that, right? They need to understand, and I think someone needs to get the question answered. Why and how did you come to the process where you're speaking out about this particular geopolitical incident? Because it's going to create bad feelings, anger, and distrust. And speaking of anger, that group Stop Anti-Semitism, I put up a picture on Twitter in reply to one of their posts about this, and it was a photo of me, and it said, I'm a pediatrician and the AAP doesn't speak for me. The replies on it, my goodness, there's a couple in there where I'm called the C word, although they spelled it with a K. I kind of think if you're gonna go potty mouth, gee, you can't even spell the potty mouth words. It's kind of embarrassing, really.
That's funny.
Well, I guess it is. But like you read that and your heart kind of stops for a minute.
It's horrible.
You're thinking, yeah. It's look, Dawn, we're both women. Like when people bring out that word, we know, like we just immediately like freeze up, right? And you're like, ooh, wow. Yeah, so there were some very unsavory replies to that, but all I said is this organization doesn't speak for me, and I think we have a right to question how this happened, especially knowing that this organization is it's a multi-million-dollar organization. You can look up their 990s, as did I, and you can look up the fact that they lobby with over $1 million a year. In a very partisan way, I might add. There we are, USA granting them nonprofit status, and there's a lot of people profiting because, as I mentioned, 28 people that are employed by this organization have six-figure salaries.
Yeah, and it's just like I say, the pattern is always becomes like a money laundering situation, and we see that over and over. So everybody follow Dr. Mass, Dr. Marion E. Mass on social media, and make sure that we'll have our own army, if you will, of maybe defending you and making sure that they know they can't mess with Mass, because we love you. So until next time.
You're very kind.
Oh, no, I mean it. I mean, we respect you and we appreciate you. Look, we've covered a lot here, and there's a lot to follow. And like you said, with the budget, what's going on, and holding those elected officials, to accountability. But Dr. Marion E. Mass, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to spread a clip of this around.
Yes. Well, it's my honor. So 855-839-1210 if you want to sound off or sound in. We do want to get into this latest, it was a Census Bureau study, right, that says who's getting married earlier, who's waiting, and what's your advice? What's your advice? My teenage son and I had this conversation recently, and I said to him, don't put anything off. If you're in love, if you're in college and you fall in love, just don't put anything off. Marriage, kids, go for it. That's you know what I'm telling him. And he's like, no, I think I'm going to wait, Mom. But we'll get Dan's take. We'll get your take, 855-839-1210. We want to hear from you with regard to this study, because I think it brings forth, yes, policies, politics, if you will, because of the policies, how they matter in our lives, our marriages, and the age you are when you have kids, or not when you fall in love, but rather when you move forth with your life. And I think there's some deep issues going on here. So I want to get into this. 855-839-1210. Quick break. Be right back.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
I zipped him too quickly, and he says, I want my damn flag. Ray in Warminster.
You Christmas story Santa Claus me. I'm hurt.
If you can come to the inauguration party that we're having at the Newtown Athletic Club next Monday, we will do the handoff there.
I'm going to do my very best, and I appreciate you guys very much.
You got it. All right. Can I hang up on him? I don't want to. All right. Yeah. All right, I'm going to hit the drop button. There we go. There he is.
Thanks, Ray.
In Warminster, joining us here again.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Attention 1210 future home sellers. Are you planning to sell your home in 2025? The housing market's changing fast. It's not what it used to be. Diane Cordano here from Cordano Realtors. And let me help you stay ahead of the shifting real estate market and how to increase the value of your home. Join me and special guest Dom Giordano for a free breakfast seminar on Saturday morning, February 1st at the Hilton Garden Inn in Fort Washington. I'll show you how to tackle today's uncertain market with rising inventory and fluctuating interest rates, low-cost ways to stage your home and meet modern buyer demands. Also, check out my insider strategies that helps homes sell faster and for more money. And you'll get a signed copy of my new book, Model Home Mindset. So do your research and get prepared when selling your home. Don't wing it. RSVP now. Call 215-576-8666, 215-576-8666, or visit 215-576-8666.com.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra. It's Philly sports put to music at Westchester University in Pittman, New Jersey, February 21st and 22nd.
Love the orchestra.
Joe's great. He encapsulates a Philly sports fan.
Oh, I love the music. I especially like the old songs from Philly.
The impressions of different voices. That's Conklin and City Rhythm at Westchester University on Friday, February 21st. And at the Broadway Theater in Pittman, New Jersey, Saturday, February 22nd. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years.
He was in big trouble.
We're going to take your house, garnish your pay.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm.
I don't owe the IRS anymore. It was because of Optima Tax.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Actual client compensated for sharing their experience. Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
Unlock your savings potential in 2025 with a First Harvest Credit Union Growth Savings Account and earn as high as 3.25% annual percentage yield. Or check out competitive certificate and IRA specials. Earn more with flexible access to your funds. Visit firstharvestcu.com/growth savings or your nearest branch to open your account or to get details. First Harvest Credit Union, serving the Delaware Valley for 85 years. Membership restrictions apply. Insured by NCUA.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Lincoln Riley would be alive today,
if President Biden and Vice President Harris had enforced the law and secured the border?
Senator, he should not have been in our country. And then Laken Riley would have been alive. And I don't think it's just Laken Riley. There are so many victims throughout our country. Not only that, we're all familiar with the violent gangs who are coming into our country, walking into our country freely through the open border. The cartels, the gangs, Venezuela's let people out of their prisons. It's been reported. I don't have the security clearance yet to see what's happening, but I know, we all know, there are criminals throughout our country, and it is my commitment to you on both sides of the aisle that I will do everything in my power with the agencies that fall under me if I am confirmed to make America safe again. We have to do that, Senator.
Well, many of us...
Pam Bondi. Sounds good to me. Doesn't that just sound wonderful? And I can't wait. I think she's going to sail through, and I think she'll be phenomenal. And you think about that. Think about just yesterday, the weaponization of government. It just never ends. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, suing Elon Musk, taking him to court, federal court, and accusing him of misleading shareholders when he bought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Twitter stock back in 2022.
So sick of this crap,
I know.
no,
it's. Can you believe this?
No, I can't. And that's what highlighting what Pam Bondi just said there. We have an administration that's sitting there that's more concerned with crap like this than protecting our borders or talking about the true reality of how foreign affairs work in 2025. Donna, it's so frustrating. I'm going to play one more clip here because I think this highlights really well what we can expect from the Trump administration compared to this stupid Biden administration coming after Elon Musk. Take a listen to Marco Rubio actually highlighting China as a threat, which you never hear from the Biden administration. Take a listen.
If we stay on the road we're on right now, less than 10 years, virtually everything that matters to us in life will depend on whether China will allow us to have it or not. Everything from the blood pressure medicine we take to what movies we get to watch and everything in between, we will depend on China for it. They have come to dominate the critical mineral industry supplies throughout the world. Everywhere in the world, they've now established critical mineral rights. Even those who want to see more electric cars, no matter where you make them, those batteries are almost entirely dependent on the ability of the Chinese and the willingness of the Chinese Communist Party to produce it and export it to you. So if we don't change course, we are going to live in a world where much of what matters to us on a daily basis, from our security to our health, will be dependent on whether the Chinese allow us to have it or not. That's an unacceptable outcome.
And this is no surprise. In the past, Rubio has warned about this, saying that basically China, and of course they want to be the most powerful nation. But what he's saying is it's always at the expense of everybody else. And what he's questioning is, how did we, as our American leadership, allow this to happen? So, and we also, it wasn't just this week, it was Chris Wray, outgoing FBI director, who, by the way, Trump put him in during his administration. Let us not forget. And that's why we see in the hiring process, they're making sure that people are, if they have an underlying agenda, right? But in that one, I will say it was pretty chilling what Chris Wray told CBS 60 Minutes, Scott Pelley, when he talked about the fact of what's going on with China as far as spying, as far as what they're doing, what they're up to.
Take a listen.
China's cyber program is by far and away the world's largest, bigger than that of every major nation combined, and has stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than that of every nation, big or small, combined. But even beyond the cyber theft, there's another part of the Chinese cyber threat that I think has not gotten the attention publicly that it, I think, desperately deserves, and that is Chinese government's pre-positioning on American civilian critical infrastructure to lie in wait on those networks, to be in a position to wreak havoc and can inflict real-world harm at a time and place of their choosing.
The Chinese have already insinuated malware into critical American infrastructure.
That's correct.
Like what?
Things like water treatment plants. We're talking about transportation systems. We're talking about targeting of our energy sector, the electric grid, natural gas pipelines. And recently, we've seen targeting of our telecommunications system.
And then the report that malicious software is just one of the ways that hackers can steal your data or cause damage to your electronic devices. The Department of Justice and the FBI, they've released now that they deleted malware from thousands of infected computers during a months-long law enforcement operation alongside international partners. And so what they're alleging here is that the People's Republic of China paid a group of hackers known as Mustang Panda, which sounds like Greg Stocker and Rich Zioli's cover band back in high school.
Pretty cool name.
Mustang Panda. That's better than Mustang's, almost as good as Mustang Susie. Mustang Panda, to develop a version of Plug X malware. It was used to infect, control, and steal info from victims' computers, private computers, and this has been going on, they claim, since about 2014, that the Mustang Panda hackers, again, hired by the Communist China, infiltrating computer systems in campaigns against American victims, European, Asian governments, businesses, and Chinese dissident groups. And so the FBI, and this is the FBI working to identify infected computers and obtaining 9 warrants. And this is, by the way, Eastern District of Pennsylvania. And then they authorized the deletion of PlugX. So what they did was they programmed the malware in, I guess, some of our own computers to delete itself. But then the question that that begs is, whoa, wait a minute. How did they get the deletey of the Panda, Mustang Panda? How did they get that into your computer? Yeah. So they had to break into your computer, right?
Yep, and a little bit more from Marco Rubio. Don?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, do you agree that the PRC is the biggest threat that we face as the United States?
The Communist Party of China leads the PRC, is the most potent and dangerous near-peer adversary this nation has ever confronted. They have elements that the Soviet Union never possessed. They are a technological adversary and competitor, an industrial competitor, an economic competitor, a geopolitical competitor, a scientific competitor now, in every realm. It's an extraordinary challenge. It's one that I believe will define the 21st century.
Okay, but I'm going to push back a little bit because obviously under Nixon, right, back in the day, he's the one who opened this up and said, hey, we have a lot of people, you have a lot of people, let's open trade. And I just looked up the one of the numbers. U.S. goods and services trade with China, $758.4 billion, and that's just in 2022. And exports, $195.5 billion. Imports, $562.9 billion. So my question is, okay, well, we're in bed with them, right? So I push back on a little bit because I think, well, if they want to remain powerful, they want to remain in business with us. So how are they incentivized to spy on us or do, malicious things to us? Because we're their customer. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like the government officials on one hand want us to believe that communist China is evil and they're bad and they're going to do bad stuff. Well, then why don't you cut off the business, right? So part of this is a contradiction in terms. 855-839-1210. Quick break. Be right back.
Weather sponsored by the Piazza Auto Group.
Experience the difference from Piazza Hyundai of Pottstown and Westchester. Shop their extensive inventory of new and certified pre-owned Hyundai models like the Santa Fe, Tucson, and Palisade. Online at piazzahyundai.com.
Temperatures remain well below averages and Arctic air mass remains locked into the Delaware Valley. Sun and clouds today will be breezy, high up around 35, but feeling more like the teens and 20s with the wind. Very cold tonight, mostly clear, low 22. And Thursday becoming mostly cloudy, chance for a few snow showers with a high 33. Hi,
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you looking to achieve your health goals and start the new year right? Well, now's the time to optimize and support your heart health, cholesterol, digestive health, energy levels, and more with Rescue Natural Supplements with their New Year's savings. Rescue is celebrating you, so save 35% on single bottles of Rescue supplements with the code HEALTH35. Try the popular Rescue 1250 Omega-3 for heart health, Rescue Probiotic for better digestion, or Rescue Oracine for more energy. Whatever your health goals are, Rescue has you covered. To place an order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, speak to a knowledgeable Rescue product consultant, or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. Start your journey to better health today. Use the code HEALTH35. Again, save 35% on all single supplements. Use that code HEALTH35. Don't wait. Make this year your best yet with Rescue.
Family and Company Jewelers on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey is South Jersey's diamond destination and your trusted jeweler for quality, service, and price. You can choose from the largest selection of engagement rings in the area, or you can have their master jewelers create a custom one-of-a-kind ring just for your special day. Visit their showroom or shop online at FamilyJewelers.com. Family and Company Jewelers, South Jersey's diamond destination.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
SEPTA says it's back on track and ready for Eagles fans after a flub in service last Sunday. High winds delay the final sail for the former USS John F. Kennedy aircraft out of the Navy Yard. Governor Phil Murphy is calling for extended paid paternal leave for state workers caring for newborn.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121. Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
What's better than bacon? Bacon on everything, of course. Add Hatfield bacon to every meal, from breakfast to dinner, for the perfect sizzling taste your family will love. With flavors like hardwood smoked, applewood smoked, maple brown sugar, and cuts from classic to extra thick, there's a Hatfield bacon for every recipe. Get inspired at simplyhatfield.com and discover new ways to enjoy your favorite bacon. Hatfield bacon. Find your flavor with Hatfield and put pork on your fork.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by the Labor and Energy Alliance this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that will affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Let me tell you about my buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria. Great guy. Whether you're looking for pediatric, general, cosmetic, or implant dentistry, look no further. Dr. Veneria and his award-winning team, they have your whole family covered, just like mine. Dr. Veneria's office exceeds CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control with centralized UV sterilization of airflow to ensure your safety. Locations right over the bridge in Cinnaminson and Woodbury, 856-786-2020 or veneriadental.com.
Free speech lives here. With Dom Giordano, weekdays noon till 3 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Ask you this. If President-elect Trump suggests, or hints that you as Attorney General should investigate one of his perceived political enemies, would you do so?
Senator Hirono, I wish you had met with me. Had you met with me, we could have discussed many things and gotten to know.
I am listening to you now. Could you respond to the question?
Yeah, you were the only one who refused to meet with me, Senator. But what we would have discussed is that it is the job of the Attorney General to
I'm very
follow
happy to listen
the
to
law.
your responses under oath.
Dan Borowski, out of respect to your beautiful bride, Maisie, the better Maisie, I'm going to call the lesser Maisie Hazy Hirano.
Ooh.
Because she's kind of, first I was going to say lazy, but hazy, because she sounds kind of hazy.
I appreciate that. There's a lot of conversations about Maisie on this stage.
'Cause I love the name
couple of
Maisie.
day, and the wife being named Maisie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Maisie Hirano
Hazy.
deserves to lose the M. Give her the A.
She loses. Yeah, we're demoting, taking away the M. She's Hazy Hirano. Senator Hazy Hirano.
Yeah, what is going on?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Other headlines this morning what's that?
Too much spam because she's from Hawaii. So it's a bad joke.
So Pam Bondi, she's doing quite well on the stand, on the hot seat, if you will. Bye-bye Biden, retiring President Joe Biden, calls it the privilege of his life to serve in politics for a lifetime. And so he released his farewell letter tonight, 8 p.m. Will give his final farewell address. We also have in Philadelphia, and I think this is underplayed, which is, I imagine Dom Giordano will have to bring this up, but this is former judge, recently resigned Judge Patrick Dugan. He's now
today.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Wonderful. Dugan.
Well, what is he doing? Please tease it.
So, will he boot Krasner? Because he's primarying the DA, who Dom Giordano just loves. I know you love Krasner, so. So Dugan, will he be that secret weapon to oust Krasner? And by calling him out on the policies, because somebody who sits, as a judge certainly would see in action what it means to have a district attorney with certain policies. I want to get to this final story because I love this story. It's a Census Bureau study that U.S. Census, or not study, it's the Census Bureau. And what they're saying is that we in Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth, this area of the East Coast, we wait longer to get married. And so the average age
shots
here.
fired there, dog.
Yeah. So it used to be 27, 28 years old last census. Now it's age 30.3. So 30 and 3 plus months. That's about the average. People putting off marriage. And then when you look at some of the southern states, quite the opposite. They get married many years younger, maybe 26, 27. So we, especially in Pennsylvania, are going in the direction of more and more people wonder why, are putting off marriage. And this is first-time marriages.
Yeah, and there's good reason for this. I mean, growing up here, going to high school in Indiana, I met a lot of friends out there that got married right after high school. And the reason for that, Dawn, I think heavy emphasis on the trades compared to the East Coast, combined with price of living. So you had kids that graduated high school. Within 2 years, they were graduating trade school, getting into their apprenticeship, starting six-figure careers, able to have a family with property prices that are percentage of what we pay here in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So you have to start a career first when you're in these blue states before you can start a family. And sadly, that you get to a certain age where it starts becoming trouble. It's a sad thing that we have here in the blue states, because red states, I have friends over there that they have 12-year-olds now. You know, they're fully they're talking, bringing their kids to high school and such. So it's a way different situation between the red and the blue states there, Dawn.
Yeah, and I think it's an important point, because then, because you think about, unless you're super wealthy and you can have like a million nannies or whatever, but then even when your kids are like 20, and the person's like 80, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I tell my kids, get married. Yeah, if you're in love and you know that this is the right one, have a wedding, get married, have your kids young. That's my attitude.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kelly was telling me he and Carol waited till their 40s. But whenever you find love in life, that's a blessing. Dom Giordano, his better half, of course, we all love Ro. We love Ro.
Who's older? Much older than me, Dawn. Did you know that?
No, she's not.
Yes, she is.
Really? I thought you guys were high school sweethearts.
She's 6 months older than me.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that's a year. It's a little bit over 6 months.
But first of all, nobody thinks that.
No way.
Because there's a biologic age. And she's actually like 12 years younger, biologically.
Well, the takeaway I had from this is how high it's gone, because Utah, I was going to talk about this too, Utah, Idaho, and West Virginia, they're now at about 27. Back in the day, if you were 18, that was an older marriage in those states, I think.
Yes. Yeah, these were middle-aged people, right? Now they're like,
I got people who are 35, 36. They're still looking for the one. They're not even dating their future wife. You know, it's crazy here in these states.
Yeah, I think so. So, Dawn, we'll get into this. And Dan didn't even see this, but he's going to be happy. Red food dye has been banned by the FDA this morning in the Federal Registry.
Woo.
But why on the last day? Is this to take some of the steam out of Kennedy?
Oh, that's a great point. Well, many more great points to come. Dom Giordano.